Hey guys, a little programming note before we get into tonight's video. One of my wife's classmates is currently dealing with stage 4 lung cancer. He's 31, never smoked. Went ahead, I put his GoFundMe in the description here. If you have a little bit of time, a little bit of money, you want to share it around, donate a couple of dollars. It's helping with his medical bills. It's helping with some of the travel associated with his care. He lives in South Carolina. He's traveling to Houston. If there's anything that you can do to help, please do. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football RPG. Today, we will be listening to my dog move his ears, but most importantly, we'll be going over Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. He is an early declare. He is a true junior. He's going to be 22 during his rookie season, turns 22 in April. Listed at 6'5", 212. That is unofficial. We'll wait for the combine, but I mean, he looks all of the 6'5", some of the 212. He could probably throw on a couple pounds. And he is a projected top 10 pick on consensus boards right now. Evan, what do his analytics say?
Yeah, so when you look at his snap share, we're talking mostly an outside wide receiver. Did play some in the slot, could get moved in motion to be in the slot. 130 targets. I mean, we're talking a huge target share here in this offense, 84 receptions. When you look at this offense, that dwarfed everybody else in this offense. 39 was the next highest, and that was the running back. So that tells you he was the clear number one in this offense. He was the clear first read for Fafita, who had a down year. So he was dealing with some questionable quarterback play at best. We're talking 1,316 yards, 430 yards after the catch, a 13.7 ADOT, 2.87 yards per out run. And you will start looking at where he did his damage. You start looking at the yardage in short yards. So that's between 0 and 9. He had 473 yards in that range. And he also had 472 yards in 20-plus yard receptions, basically where he's catching the ball over 20 yards deep down the field. So he was used in all facets of this offense. You look at what he was asked to do. He was asked to run a lot of different routes. And then you start looking at the entire profile of what he provided over the years in college. And he's been productive since 2022 when he first came on and first started doing things with the team. 702 yards as the very beginning, 1,236 that following year. You know, everybody knew the name coming into this season, and he's done exactly that. He's produced. He's done just what we wanted him to do. Mike, film side, what are you seeing on his film?
Yeah, on the film, I like that you hit the 0 to 9 and then also the deep yards. If you do the math there, it means that he also had another 400 and something in the middle. He's a 3-level winner. So he has a big, wide catch radius. He's able to use his frame well. He's not one of those 6'5" guys that's just running around out there and hoping for a prayer. Like, he knows how to use his size. He knows how to box out corners. He knows how to hand fight on those deep balls. He has big mitts to pluck the ball out of the air. A lot of the time you'll see these guys let the ball come into their body because they are so big. He reaches out and he uses all of his frame, which we love to see. He's an above average mover for his size. I've seen a lot of people say that he is one of the best movers. He has this elite athleticism. I think the combine, if he runs, is going to be not fun for him. Somebody comped him on Twitter to Lad McConkey if he was 6'5", which no, as the leader for Dads for Lad, absolutely not. But he is above average, strong yards after the catch potential. He's not one of those towers that catches the ball, falls over. Think Mike Williams just leaping up in the air and then falling over. He catches the ball and then he tries to transition it into almost a running back. Obviously, a 6'5" running back would be hilarious, but mean after the catch, strong stiff arm, which is great to see because he has a 7-foot wingspan, which is awesome. And he's going to be a target earner in whatever offense he goes to. If he goes to the Panthers, if he goes to the Patriots, wherever he is going to be drafted, because he's projected to go in that top 10, top 15, those teams need a wide receiver. So wherever he goes, he's going to be a high target earner. I have his pro comp as Drake London, not in a bad way, like what we wanted Drake London to be. He is somewhere on, there's a spectrum for big wide receivers. He's somewhere on that Michael Pittman to Mike Evans spectrum. And I think he's in the top half of that. Evan, What should we do with him on our dynasty teams? And how do you feel about him as a prospect overall?
Yeah, so dynasty teams, we're looking at somebody that I wouldn't be counting on being that wide receiver 1 for your dynasty team. I'd be thinking of him more as that wide receiver 2 for my dynasty team. I think there is a nuance to being able to actually have wide receivers that are going to be able to produce and consistently produce in an offense. Sure, this year's class is absolutely packed with running backs, and you may have some boards that play out in your leagues that because of that, it's going to push Tet down. I mean, we could see Tet realistically going 103, 104, 105 for some people if you start getting some quarterback hungry, quarterback desperate, we'll call them teams. So fantasy outlook, you're not going to have to use the 101, 102 in most draft cycles, most drafts that you have to be able to get him on your team. And when you start thinking about that, you go, okay, realistically, cost versus production. What am I going to be looking at here? There's a lot of teams that he could go to that he could be an absolute smash. He could come out, he could be forced into that wide receiver 1 role. He could be force-fed targets like he was at Arizona. There's also a lot of teams out there where he may be going as that wide receiver 2 on that team, which is he a wide receiver 2 at the NFL level? No, he's probably a 1B, but he's not a 1A.
I think he could be a 1A in the right system. So rolling up on Tankathon at the draft order, Titans, he's a wide receiver 1. Cleveland, he's a wide receiver 1. If he goes to the Giants, that's tough. He's the wide receiver 2 by a pretty big margin there. There's only 2 spots in the top 10 that I'm really worried about. It's if he goes to the Giants or the Jets. If he goes to one of those places, there's already a twitchy separator, big target earner in that offense, and then some questionable quarterback play. If he goes there, it's going to be a slow burn. What is the highest pick you are willing to spend on him? Let's say you can't trade back and you're at the 102.
Sure. I mean, at the 102, if I'm already set at running back on my team, there are running backs that I like more than him. I would be hopeful to be spending the 103, 104, more of that range on Tet. The 102, I'm frankly slating for my RB2 in the class as of right now, hoping that he gets a great landing spot. But at 102, sure. If you told me that I have some older running backs on my team that are going to get me production, I'm looking to try and replace some aging out wide receivers to try and refuel that position. Sure, Mike, I'll use the 102 on him.
Completely fair. If you're at the 102, you're probably not set on running back. But bottom line on Tet, we think that he is a very good prospect. In last year's class, he would have been somewhere in that wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 bucket. Very solid receiver, very good at football. You should be happy if your real NFL team gets him, but a little strategy before we get into our dynasty mock drafts. We already did a little super flex one. Look, take the running backs or take one of the top 2 to 3 receivers. These quarterbacks, the upside probably isn't there. Tight ends, that's always just shooting fish and hoping for the best. Not in a barrel, just in a lake. But Tet McMillan, we should be excited. Anything else on Tet, Evan?
I mean, get excited. When's the last time we've seen a Arizona wide receiver going into the NFL with high production and high potential?
N'Keal Harry. Was he Arizona?
Nope, that was Arizona State.
Close enough. But
it's
you made it
been
this
a
far.
long time.
If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. Go check out our full wide receiver rankings. We need to update those, though, because there's been some surprise declares. We dove into the film and the analytics a little bit more. Check it out. We love you. And most importantly, I love you, Evan. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the Goblins get you.